That's killed it.
He made the decision to play Thiago. But Klopp doesn't change the system. Since blue back left, you don't want to change from the 4-3.
What's going on, guys? What is going on? It's G, and we're back in the building. We're back with a quick preview for this evening's game, Liverpool versus West Ham at Anfield. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. But you guys already know Jerry will be joining us very, very shortly. But, you know, I can't start this by myself, man. So, you know, I'm going to be joined with my brother from another.
My brother G, what are you telling me, bro? Ready to chop up this game. I'm feeling confident. I can't lie. I don't know about you. Majority of this season, we've been down in the dumps and just stressed out about our club, but I'm feeling very confident, bro. Very confident.
Bro.
Obviously, we're going to dissect the game, but I ain't felt like this in a long time. Feel like that.
Let's put it this way. First and foremost, big up everybody inside. Let me just run through a couple of the comments. Obviously, we've got Romz smashed up. Yeah, guys, please make sure you guys are smashing those likes. Make sure if you haven't subscribed already, make sure that you're doing that. We've got so much more content with you guys throughout the season. Big up Psychedelic Scientists. You know what the time it is. You know what it is. Big up 6 times. Big up Romz. Big up, who else in the chat? Big up Phil Banda as well. So, guys, obviously, this evening we've got the Hammers. They're I wouldn't say that they're in any real kind of form. Obviously, the early part of the season they were kind of, you know, a bit wishy-washy, but you know, they had signed quite a few players here and there, so they were just still trying to gel. A bit like, I was going to say a bit like Liverpool, but we ain't really signed that many players to be complaining about, you know, gelling and stuff like that. We've kind of had the same, you know, the same team and things like that. This evening, we should be joined by another Hammers fan. Once he's in the building, then obviously we'll get him in to get his thoughts behind the game and what he thinks the outcome is going to be for this evening. But just quickly, before we even dive into that, Romz, chat to me. You said you're feeling confident. Now, obviously, you know me already. You know how I stay. You know how I move in terms of the whole like being confident and stuff like that. Explain to me why you're feeling this confident.
Because I feel we will set up very similar to how we did against City, and I feel there won't be too much change to the personnel. One change minimum, 2 changes max. But that's why I'm confident for this game. And you can't approach West Ham how you approach Man City. That they're nowhere near as good, but they can still pose the same sort of threats Man City can pose. So I do feel we have to set up in a similar way, not the exact same way, but a similar way. But I am confident because they're not as good on their travels. They are coming into quite some good form, I believe. Okay. Especially with Gmwk now starting for them. But yeah, I'm confident about tonight, man. I'm confident about tonight.
No, I feel you. And the thing is, I don't know why I keep laughing here because you know the thing is, you know why I'm laughing. But what I will say though is that everything you just said there, 100% agree. Obviously, we can't come into it with we're not going to go into the game. I think even Klopp alluded to that anyway in his comments, press quotes when he spoke about, you know, coming into this game. Obviously, it's not Manchester City, but at the same time, just because it's not Manchester City, that doesn't then mean that we could try and relax or anything like that. We saw what happened at the London Stadium last season, 3-2. We saw what happened. So we saw what happens once you're not really on your game. West Ham are one of them teams that I always find that, especially under David Moyes, they're one of them teams that you think to yourself, bro, if you're not on it, they will come there, sit if they have to, and hit you on the counter. And even if they don't hit you on the counter, I feel like this season, they've got enough good ball players on the pitch. Even players like your Declan Rice, your Berhama, you got players of that kind of ilk who can hurt us. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it is one of them kind of like tricky games, if I'm being honest with you.
I was gonna say, G, that even though we ain't lost to West Ham, I think in the last 8-9 years at Anfield. Even the last 2-3 wins, they have been very close. They ran us to the wire. I remember Jota scored the winner one game. I remember when they even got a draw when Antonio scored one year. I can't remember that year from the top of my head, but yeah, there'll be a tricky proposition. But I think we will get the 3 point. But I just want to big up Saint every time, man. Make sure it's
make sure you guys check over Saint and Romz their preview to the game. Please make sure you guys, after this, just make sure you go head over there, check it out, smash a like, and if you haven't, subscribe as well.
But just to introduce our guest, this has been my friend from knee high. I've known him from, I think, even nursery through primary to secondary. Diehard West Ham fan. He attends games from Upton Park to the London Stadium. Him and GR TikTok sensations. Let me must say,
don't put me in the same bracket as him. He's a sensation.
No, you're coming as well. But yeah, I think 100k plus subscribers. He reviews a lot of UK rap and whatnot. But big up my brother Max, man. He's doing big things. Big
love for the intro, bro. Thank you for that. That was nice.
Come on, man. Literally my friend from knee hat. But how are you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. I'm all good. I'm a bit nervous for tonight, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah.
You're nervous.
What's your thoughts going into the game?
Don't be nervous against Liverpool, bro. Trust me.
It's a weird one, yeah, because it's always you guys are just hitting that nice bit of form. Like, obviously, 2 big wins were needed for you lot. And we were like just hit some nice form, and then we drew to Southampton on the weekend. So we just have that slight, like, I don't know, slow down to the momentum. I think playing like Thursdays is also having an effect on us. But when we play, I don't know, man. There's something about us versus Liverpool. Like, we always managed to turn it. The win last year at the London Stadium was probably the best win of the season that I attended, other than the Europa League wins. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I feel like we could bring you a game, but at the same time, you lot are in a nice bit of form to be up for it. So we'll see.
Nah, I feel you on that. It's like I said, man. Like, I've been watching West Ham now for. Well, my cousin's a West Ham fan, so unfortunately, since I was knee high myself, so it's one of them ones. And one thing I always find with West Ham versus Liverpool games is, as I said, like. Someone even just put in the comments, Boo Rider. It's almost like West Ham recently, anyway. It's like they have our number. Do you get what I mean? It's one thing I wanted to always ask a West Ham fan was this: what's so different between David Moyes now than David Moyes before? Obviously, before he was obviously in charge, got sacked or left, and then obviously came back in. We're seeing. I ain't never seen David Moyes like this before. Even in his time at Everton, obviously. He's got more money, like better team and stuff like that. But this David Moyes that I'm seeing, you got Rice playing ball, you've got Antonio playing ball, you've now got in players like Paqueta, you had Payet before. Like, what is it with David Moyes these days?
I think the first stint with David Moyes was like the new stadium. We just had Bilic like get sacked, so it was kind of like the hangover of that whole Upton Park era. It was a massive transition phase, and I think he literally just kept us up. Like, that's all he managed to do. The squad was very confused then. Like, we had bought so many players that just didn't make sense. And then I think when he came in under Pellegrini, it's funny. I think it was it might have been the Liverpool game that we had where we lost 3-2, but we from nowhere, like, we kind of had like City Liverpool. I think were his first games in charge. And I don't know why he just brought that spirit. I don't know what it was. We just brought a spirit to us that like I hadn't seen in years. Like, I was starting to lose faith in West Ham after the move, and then it was from then that he just really picked it up. And I really think it's like, I don't know what he's got different this time, whether it's better players or whether he's had more time, more money. I think it's all come into account, but it's that spirit that he's got in the team. Like, players like Fornals that like. There's not one skill set that you would like say, he's sick at beating a player or something like that. But he just works for the badge. And I think having Rice, obviously bringing in Souček and Soufal, them players like will literally go out to war when they're playing. I think like it's that combination. And obviously I think Mark Noble was a massive factor in allowing that transition and Moyes like building that spirit of the club. I think them two had a really good relationship, and it's nice to see now that that spirit is still starting to like show this season. Obviously, we had a slow start to the season, but I think that was inevitable with how many players we brought in, losing people like Noble in the dressing room. But yeah, I think like I back Moyes 100% now. I just think he's in charge of the dressing room, and like he's managed to sell players that we didn't need in there and bring in some players that are like really important. And hopefully they've started to gel and bond well, because yeah, it's exciting times at West Ham. That Scamacca, Paqueta link up should.
That's a beautiful segue, because I was going to ask you, Matt, as a West Ham fan, because I was kind of frustrated for you lot. Was you just frustrated that it took so long to integrate Scamacca into the team? Because Antonio's from my country, and so I was somewhat backing that he's Jamaican, so I always have that.
He went to Oxford as well, you know. Romz.
Yeah, he went to our primary school.
He's local.
But, I forgot about that. I remember, but let's be honest, he's not a Scamacca level. He's done very well for you. I think your record goal scorer in the Premier League, correct?
Of all time. He's our
of all time, yeah.
Scorer.
So he does have a lot of clout and respect at West Ham, but Scamacca's a different. I don't know.
I've never heard, by the way, guys, I've never heard Romz speak about Darwin Núñez like this, but we'll continue.
I'm happy you said that. Because it comes on to my next point. I actually wanted Scamacca over Núñez. You know me, it was Vlahovic and Scamacca were my two strikers. I thought, that it can change the way we play. Then we got Núñez, so I'm going to back Núñez regardless. But Scamacca, I saw him for Sassuolo with Berardi and Locatelli, and what De Zerbi was doing with that team. And I thought, this is a player. And when I heard your bid got accepted for him, I said, he's going to be a problem at West Ham. But then I saw the first month or so, he's just on the bench.
Starting, honestly.
And it was just like, and it was so evident. The minute you played him in the Conference League, he was scoring. I think he scored on his Premier League debut as well.
Yeah. When he started, he scored. It's an interesting one. I think like with Antonio, it's been frustrating as a West Ham fan, because we've literally not had another striker. Like the entirety of last season, it was just Antonio. Like Bowen can do a job, but Bowen is so much better on the wing. And I think that's why Antonio worked so well last season, because he had that support of Bowen, Benrahma, for now. Like we had Lanzini, he had a lot of support behind him, and then you know what he's going to do, and he does it so well. But that was our main weakness last year, was we didn't have a plan B. And sometimes it didn't look like we had a plan A. Like when it's not working, we have nothing. There's no striker we could put on. Like Antonio was tired, like playing Thursday, Sunday. Like it was tiring. And
what's your view on Yarmolenko? I know it was kind of difficult with him, the whole situation with his country. But what's your view on Yarmolenko? Because
Yarmolenko, when he started for us, he was balling out. Like he was scoring goals. I rated him so much, and I was so excited for him to come back from injury, and he just never found his flow. And he just looked like one of them players that had an attitude as well, that like he felt like he deserved to be playing when he wasn't playing well when he was. So like I was getting worried Scamacca would have that like when he came on, he'd have that sort of, I don't know. Obviously, he's not just been a big signing and he's not playing, but he's obviously now starting to play, starting to find his feet. Obviously got a lot of help with Paqueta as well. So I'm so happy to see Scamacca starting now. And then obviously subbing Antonio on is such a good plan B, because it can just, defenders don't know how to defend him sometimes. But it's also nice to have a good plan A in Scamacca. And West Ham haven't had a good striker or just a solid striker in years. Like Antonio's not a striker. He's a winger.
Yeah, bro. No, it is a bit mad. I'm going to get into, obviously, everyone knows, we've seen it. It's been banded around the news in the last, couple of days since the game on Sunday. Jurgen Klopp and his comments. I'm not going to get too deep into that, because I don't really like speaking too much about those kind of things. I'm more here for the football, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on it, Max, because obviously they asked David Moyes about the whole sending off and stuff like that, and David Moyes kind of, we'll get into that, but obviously he lent his thoughts, shall we say, behind it. But just quickly, I want to run through the comments. Obviously got a few people in the building.
Everyone inside.
I get that all the time with Souček or Declan Rice as well. Everyone says in my comment.
When he said it, I was thinking like Souček, and then I looked again. I was like, maybe he's, but no, I wouldn't say Souček.
Comments are going mad. Big up everyone inside, man.
Big up Ems. Big up SA. Oh my God, I just got here and G looks like a Latin professor. We're winning by 4 goals.
What for money heist?
That's the last time I wear glasses on the thing, you know. You lot are just a bunch of foul.
I didn't see
dogs,
it,
bro.
you know. I didn't see it, but I sliced it.
Hey, you lot, allow me, bro. Allow me.
Oh my God.
Big up Mohammed, asking about finessing everyone to pick up Paqueta. Yo, real talk, where everybody wanted Paqueta, though. It seemed like it during the summer. Everybody, we'll get into that.
Because, you know what's frustrating? Skamaka and Paqueta walk into our team. They crawl into our team.
Brother, come on, G. I would have taken, even though I said I don't really want, I didn't want this type of midfielder, but the reality is I'll take Souček. Declan Rice, he's the one that I would blatantly take, obviously. But
everyone wants Rice, man.
Exactly, man. Big up everyone inside. Big up Ravi. What do Liverpool do to stop the West Ham attacks? We'll dive into that, bro. We'll dive into that. So, obviously, Jurgen Klopp's comments. Let me not even go to the comment. Let me talk about the sending off instead. Let me ask you, Max. When you saw that anyway, when you saw obviously Klopp being sent off, we'll go like this. Romz, I'll ask you as well. Was he right to be sent off? Let's just get this out of the air now because I'm sick and tired of everyone talking about it. Was he right to be sent off, Romz?
You know what? For me, in his best game of this season, and we've been calling him to make changes, he had his best game, but that just took away from it because you can't go in an official's face like that. You just can't. And that was the only negative about Sunday because everything you and Jerry have been screaming for, G, he actually implemented in that game against the best team in the world, let alone the country. So, but to then get sent off, and it's very animated, but this is the same time, it's like a double-edged sword because he got sent off for that, but that's what we love about him. That's how he gets the crowd going and whatnot. But it was that anyone that said he didn't deserve saying, you can't go in official space out. You just can't. Like a player can't, manager can't, the assistant coach can't. You just can't. So yeah, quickly, is it a 3-game ban or is it just a 1-game ban?
Bro, we don't even know.
I swear.
Say that again.
It is free, isn't it?
It should be, but I don't think he's been banned.
No, he's not. He'll be there for tonight's game. He'll be there for tonight's game.
And I think it will come into play after tonight. Yeah.
But they're talking about potentially even extending it and stuff like that. There's been a lot of talk. There's been actually a lot of talk. Big up Assad, obviously up the irons. Yo, this is the last comment I'm taking today. You know,
that's a violation.
This is the last comment that we're taking.
Even since I've been streaming with you for the last 5-6 months, I've not even seen you in glasses. That's what it is. It's new to all of us.
What? Does nobody like the glasses and that? We saying what?
No, I think they're calm. I don't know why I didn't get
punks anyway, man. I don't like none of you. Matt, chat to me. Obviously, do you think he should have been sent off for obviously the way he was behaving towards the officials on the touchline?
Yeah, you can't be doing that and not face the consequences or be upset to to get the consequences. I think as a fan, you love to see your managers show their passion. Like when West Ham got knocked out of the Europa League, we were all so upset. Like Declan Rice getting fined for slating the officials on Twitter and Moyes getting sent off. Yeah. I enjoyed that because it was we were all so upset. But you lot won that game. There's no need for managers to get sent off. That's where you keep it cool and professional. And yeah, I think that's where it's like Rom said. It just kind of is a bit of the blow to the whole joy of it all. The win against City, that's a big win. That was important for you lot. You need Klopp to be showing showing Pep up, but it looks a bit silly getting sent off, losing your head over a foul, maybe a goal, maybe a red card, maybe a game changer, but it was just a foul. It just felt a bit too much for too little.
Nah, I totally agree. I agree with you both, to be honest, man. I think, I don't know, I'm seeing some people say, nah, man, he should have been. Guys, we saw what he did. The guy was running up in people's face, the official faces. He deserves to get sent off, and he deserves to be sent.
Sometimes as fans, you need to take sentiment out because had that been Pep,
if it was Pep, people would be talking about it.
Or Ten Hag in official's face, I would be saying, yeah. So we have to kind of have the same energy for Klopp, but That was the only negative because he was flawless that day in everything he did.
No, 100%. Obviously, we've got Panoff Scouse here. Big up yourself. When can the refs be sent off and replaced for making bad decisions? That's what I would like to know. The thing is,
unfortunately, never.
yeah, and this is it. I think all fans would kind of like that. I think one of the things I was listening to on Talksport, and Simon Jordan was saying it today, was there needs to be. What would be nice is if referees after games would just come out and just let us know. Like, forget sending off Jurgen Klopp. That was obvious. I'm talking about why you didn't give a foul. I'm talking about why you didn't see certain decisions, and not even forget the Liverpool game, bro. I'm talking all games that I've seen correct. The Manchester United game, I've seen crazy decisions in that game. Newcastle fans can attest to that. I've seen games all over the weekend where there was just something controversial, and the referees have made a decision. Now, listen, I'm not here to bash a referee because the reality is they're only human. So they're going to make mistakes. I expect you to make a mistake in the game because you're only human, just like a football player would. So I can't say, yeah, Trent ain't going to make no mistakes today because he's a professional baller. That don't make no sense because he makes bare mistakes. Do you get what I mean? So I expect a referee to do that. The reality is, though, Trent's got to come out and answer for that, though, at the end of games, or he's got to speak to the media at some point in time and kind of explain, you know, certain things. We've seen Virgil van Dijk come out. Declan Rice had to kind of apologize and these kind of things. So players are obviously always held accountable for these kind of things. So my thing is, why aren't referees, bro? Like, why are referees not able to listen? You've made a decision now. The game's done, but at least let us know, like after the game. Look, I made that decision because I saw it like this. Oh, okay, fair enough. And then maybe we might be able to empathize with you to be like, you know what, if I was in his position, blah, 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 maybe I would have seen it in that way as well because I saw That's fine. We don't really mind that. Do you get what I'm saying?
This is why, G, it would just be what they do in the NBA and NFL. Just get the rest mic'd up so we can actually hear what's going on. That would be I feel sooner. I was going to say sooner rather than later. No. Eventually, we'll see that in our game. I don't know when it will be. Maybe a couple of years, but I think there's going to be more outrage with certain decisions, and we're in the wilderness with what's going on. I think eventually that's going to come into our game. I don't know when, but I think I can see them doing that.
Nah, 100%. It needs to, bro. It needs to. We need to get some kind of like just something. We just need something like that. I'm seeing too many other sports, as you said, like which implement these kind of things, and I don't understand why football, probably the biggest sport of them all, isn't implementing these kind of things into their game. It's kind of annoying. And David Moyes and this is what I liked about David Moyes, because he's always just a straight talker. That's what I find with him. Yeah. And even he was saying, like, at the end of the day, managers are going to get emotional. Do you get what I mean? Like, it is going to be one of those ones. Managers are going to get emotional within that. It's impulsive, bro. But then this is the problem. Managers will get impulsive, then they get sent off. Referees will be impulsive within a game, you know, might accidentally give a card or give a foul where maybe if they had a bit more time to think about it, they wouldn't have. But nothing happens to them. Nothing really gets is really there's no real disciplinary against a referee. They get, you know, demoted down to the championship, and that's it. Did you get what I mean? It's like, well, that's, as Simon Jordan was saying today, it's like, well, if you're going to get demoted down to the championship, that just means that the championship have now got a shit referee who just got demoted from the Premier League and is going to start refereeing their game. Does that even make sense? Like, it is a bit weird, but I just wanted to kind of get you lot's thoughts on that anyway, just because I thought it was, excuse me, sorry, I don't know if that was me or not. No, it's calm. I think we need to kind of, one thing I will say though, is we do need to move on from this now. I'm kind of tired. I hate talking about these kind of things.
Yeah. It's one of the things you have to kind of cover, but you don't.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, it's unfortunately, as we do content and that, we've got to speak about all issues. But it does get a little bit annoying, guys. Look, we've said it here. I think all of you guys agree in the comments anyway. Big up Jerry, in the comments as well. Yeah. He deserved the red card. He deserves to get banned. I don't know when that ban comes. I think it should be only 3 games anymore. I think is a bit too excessive. But just quickly, you see the other comments he's obviously made in regards to PSG. He didn't name them, but we know it was PSG, Man City and Newcastle.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
thought it was.
Yeah, well, if it's not them, who else has got?
I
It would-
thought he might have been chucking Madrid and Barca into the mix because they pretty much do what they like as well. So I was
Okay,
confused. I had about 5-6 clubs in my head, even
Bro.
though he said 3.
I was thinking the same thing because I was like, well, then reality is, are we going to just start naming clubs who spend more than Liverpool? Let's throw every 19 teams in there and then let's just be mad at that. But Max, I just want to ask you, like, get your thoughts. Like, obviously, speaking about these 3 teams and what they can do, and you know the limits that they've obviously got, or the limits they don't have in comparison to everybody else. When you look at those kind of 3 teams, especially anyway, do you think that they're going to be do you think they are, should I say, a problem in football at this current moment in time? Or do you more see it? Because I always say this to people. If you're not a PSG, Man City, or Newcastle fan, obviously you're going to have a problem with it. But would you, Max, have an issue if, for example, you were taken over by Saudi Arabian company, or the company that obviously owns PSG or Man City? Yeah. Would you be that fussed? And when I say fussed, I mean fussed in terms of, and I don't want to get too deep, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but like fussed in terms of where their money comes from, how they do business and things like that.
I think it's an interesting one. Like with West Ham, the fans have been wanting the owners out for a long time, but really and truly, it will be like, you know, an unethical source of money to get something bigger, and the sums, like the prices these players are at, it's inevitably going to be like, you know, the biggest teams it's going to be unethical. I don't know if that's on the fans, on an official body, I don't know who that's on to make that decision. I mean, as a fan, you kind of only really care about the players coming in and the results too. Like, that's your priority, really and truly. Like, I don't know, at the end of the day, if we got bought by some rich owner that, you know, does some dodgy stuff to get their money, what can I do? It's kind of like that. And, you know, I think it's very easy to complain about the other teams when it's not your team. But yeah, I know that sounds very like unethical and wrong, but it's kind of how it is. Like, Newcastle fans were dressing up as sheikhs and stuff when they got bought, because they
like that. Thank you.
It's like
Thank
that.
you.
I think it's interesting as well, though, like the power of these clubs, because like PSG, obviously they're stupid rich, but like they've not won the Champions League, and I think that while it's almost like that the French league's a bit boring in that how much they dominate the English league, I think Newcastle will be the statement. Like, that will show how much of a problem it actually is, because City, as a fan that's supported a team that's mid to lower table the last few years, like, to watch City, obviously that's when they first were on their up battle with United and now battle with Liverpool, it's been great to watch. Like, City Liverpool's a great game to watch for me, and I don't care about either of those teams. I think Newcastle will, you know, that will see, you know, they were in the Championship a few seasons ago. To see them in the top 4 is going to be quite mad, and obviously players they're signing. So I think that will be where this culture sort of shifts, because it's like, oh, this club that were in the Championship a few years ago and now suddenly at the top, and then people are going to be like, oh, why can't my club get that, and things like that. So yeah, it's a very interesting conversation, that one.
Bro, like, I agree with everything you just said there. Guys, make sure you're there's 40 guys, as Jerry said in the chat. Make sure you're smashing them blood clot likes. Romz, let me ask you, obviously supporting Liverpool. I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, because I already know your general thoughts. But again, same question to you: would you be as fussed? And just before you even answer that, I'll let everybody know I would not be fussed. I promise you right now, I'm not going to be that fussed as to where these people get their money from, what they're doing with their money, unless there comes a line where you just think, nah, man, you can't even take that money from these guys, which I don't feel that none of these clubs have really hit, so to speak, because obviously, remember, they got to be checked by the, I'm sure they got to be checked by like the FA and the Premier League anyway.
There's a lot of this. Yeah. It's not simple, and the thing is that I'm educated, and obviously being a Liverpool fan, you, even though we're not from the city, you still have to educate yourself. And the type of club we are, working class city, etc. Majority of, I have to be careful when I say this, but I feel like the majority of Scousers wouldn't want it. They wouldn't want it. That Matt said, it is unethical and it doesn't align with the morals of our club. However, when I'm seeing Newcastle getting a big financial takeover.
Mhm.
Chelsea in 04, City in 08, PSG I think in 010. Like all these clubs kind of getting this, whether it's by a sheikh or a Chinese consortium or whatever, and going to that next level and kind of this is what I have to give our club a lot of credit for though, because we've won the big honours the last 4 or 5 years and been able to compete with those clubs on a much less financial scale. But I feel like if you're a Liverpool fan, not in the city, I feel like I can't speak for everyone, but the ones I know and yourself, and I'd say Jerry and whatnot, it would be nice because it's like we're different to the cities and Chelsea's and PSG's. We've always been a massive club, a massive entity. So if we then get this financial takeover, no one can say, "Oh, you were made in." Let's say it happened next year, you were made in 2023, or your comeuppance has only been recent. No, we've been massive since 60s, 70s. Do you know what I mean? So for us, I think it would be more accepted through the wider footballing world, but not our fan base, just because of what our morals are in the city and etc. But however, these things can go wrong. Do you not remember Angie Mashakala, the Russian club?
Yes.
And they had a bit. Remember, they were signing like players like Etu. They were signing a lot of big.
I forgot about them. Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to say big European players in their prime, but they were signing.
Bro, they got Willian. They had Etu at one point.
Etu,
like they were signing decent players. Like
I can't remember who else, but they were signing like big world-renowned players, right? And within 6 months, it turned. I don't want to swear, but it basically turned to shit. Like it was. I remember they were top of their league. I think they won the Russian league that year. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Then it wasn't sustainable. Something happened with the owners. You haven't even heard of. That's why you forgot, G, because you've not heard of the club recently. So financial takeovers can go. Look, even the Chinese consortium that took over Inter Milan. Remember, about 2-3 years ago, they injected loads of money, and then I think they had to leave within the. I'm not sure of the ins and outs as to why, but they had to leave within the next 5-6 months after that. So, and look, City, look, big up Michael Talks Football. They signed Roberto Carlos, Christopher Samba from Blackburn. That's what I mean. So, Chelsea's, the Cities, the PSGs, they are success stories, but you also have to look at the Inters, the Angie Mashakalas. That there's probably more that I can't think of the top of my head. So, but if I'm being selfish, we're already big club. If we want to go to that next level and dominate and create dynasty with the influx of money, I would accept it. But I understand as a club why we wouldn't. But for me personally, I would love one.
It's one of them ones as well, though, that like if we want to start calling out clubs for their unethical takeovers, then like we've got the World Cup in Qatar. Like FIFA themselves are so corrupt. UEFA, like if we're starting here, then where do we end? Like it's one of them ones. And like you say, if your team are gonna get bigger, there's literally only one way to compete with those teams. It's like, it's not be like, oh, maybe just, get a better scouting or something like that. No, you need money, like really and truly.
Even an example, G, Klopp's come out and said the day I have to pay 100 million for a player is the day I walk away. That's going to become the norm because clubs like PSG, I'm not going to say City, because as much as City are one of the richest clubs in the world, I don't think they've even paid 80 million for a signing. I think they're
Jack Grealish
sorry, and that is now Grealish. But before Grealish, they were paying about the 60 to 70 million mark. So, but the PSGs and etc. And I think Newcastle will within the next year or two. When you're signing players for 9 figures, then 100 million even for the clubs that aren't on that financial scale, it will become the norm. We eventually will have to. I mean, look who we're linked with, Jude Bellingham. Dortmund aren't going to accept anything less than 100 million. So that's the way football's heading. And if you was to have owners that can actually sustain that, who's to complain? But I understand as our club and the morals of the city and whatnot, I understand why we wouldn't want to. But from a selfish point of view, I'd love that. What, Premier League's every other year? This is where I have to give credit to our club, though, because even though we're winning, we are competing. 3 Champions League finals out of the last 4 years, competed for the Prem. So that's where you have to give Liverpool Football Club a lot of praise. Obviously, we do want to get over the line there and actually have more accolades, but that's where I have to big up our club. I'm not going to lie.
Nah, and I think SA put it here, you know. I want a sugar daddy for Liverpool. That term, sugar daddy. I want a sugar daddy for Liverpool. I don't care. I'm sick of buying midfielders with food stamps and coupons. It is technically unethical, though. LOL. I am just tired. And the thing is, they're big up SA, man. Like, I think that's what it is now. It has come to that point where, as Max said as well, like, bro, like if you want to get to that next level, how else are you gonna get there? Because you ain't getting there through some, you've got the greatest scouts. Then you can stay at the level of a Dortmund or a RB Leipzig, or them kind of clubs there who kind of feed the rest of Europe, if I'm being honest, because their players develop at these clubs, play European football for some of them, and then they kind of move on to the bigger and better clubs, the clubs with more money and the clubs with more financial backing. So
one thing I would say though, G, big financial takeovers don't guarantee success though, because when Chelsea got taken over in 2004, it took them 8 years to win their first Champions League. PSG and City, it still eludes them. So you're not. I know that competition is mainly about pedigree, but it's not a quick fix. It's not guaranteed success. Domestically, it has been because of what City.
Chelsea won the league, I swear, that first season anyway.
Exactly. City, I think it's now what six Premier League since their takeover. PSG, bar I think Monaco and Lille winning it. They've won it every year. I think 9 out of the last 11. So it brings you domestic success, but Champions League is a different stories, and that's what those clubs want. But the minute you have a financial takeover, you want to stake your claim as the best in Europe, and that still eludes PSG and City. So it's not a quick fix of success, but it does put you in better stead.
No, it does, and this comment here from Mark is true. We were,
you get
what I'm trying to say. We weren't doing it with shakes and things like that. So of course there then comes that kind of thing, and this is why I always allude back to like money and stuff like that, and people always saying, because Romz, you just touched a point there about City ain't won the Champions League. It took Chelsea 8 years to win the Champions League. Like, it depends on PSG still haven't won the Champions League, so that's 3 teams who are taken over by rich owners, and it took them a while to win Europe's biggest competition. But I think one thing I will say in regards to that Champions League thing is, one, it's when you, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, when you buy a football club, especially a club like those where you're trying to then start coming in and dominating, I don't feel that the Champions League is actually that important when you first buy a club. I don't think that's something that you're looking at from the off, because you realize the pedigree of the Champions League, how it is, like how hard it is to win the Champions League and things like that. The heritage behind it. I think with these clubs, and I'll use not Chelsea so much, because Chelsea weren't some shit club. Chelsea weren't like Man City when they were bought. You know what I mean? That's a whole different ball. Chelsea was still semi-decent anyway. With Manchester City, I feel like everybody obviously gets onto them, rightly so. You ain't won the Champions League. We have numerous times, so we got that edge over you. But I don't think that the Champions League is their actual. It's the holy grail. Yes, that's what they're trying to achieve. But remember, they need to stabilize that. They need to get there. They need to be known as the best in their. I feel like your own league and country is the most important when you first buy a club. You're trying to dominate there first. So
dominate domestically first.
Dominate domestically first. So become the club that everyone knows in England. All right. So when the season starts, we all probably sat here at the beginning of the season and said, all right, well, Man City is going to win the league more than likely. Maybe Liverpool, if we had patterned up, we could challenge them. But Man City are the front runners. We all say it here, right?
Everyone's favorite,
Everyone's favorites. PSG, everyone's front runners, kind of thing. So from when they already know that much, and that has now been embedded into the history of the game now, for them, they're like, okay, we're doing our job now, because now everybody looks at us as we're England's best team. We're the team that everyone thinks or should win the Premier League or win League A, kind of thing. So I feel like that is the main aim at first, and then over time, because you saw it. I remember at the beginning when Man City was when they first got into the Champions League, bro, they were barely getting out of their groups. And when they were getting out of the groups, they were making it into the latter
Yeah, I
stages.
think their first 2 seasons, they didn't make it out of their group.
I don't think so. I fully don't think so.
The first 2 seasons,
And you think to yourself, everyone will laugh at them and be like, "Oh, you didn't make out." But how do you expect? Like they're a new team. Do you get what I mean? They've only just been embedded into this thing. Like Champions League ain't no joke. In fact, European football ain't no joke. I don't care what level it is. European football ain't no joke. You can't just come in there and think that because you got money, you can just come in and blitz everybody. It don't work like that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So when people are getting onto them, so to speak, I'm like, nah, chill, because the reality is, most people, you probably swap their last 10 years of success with your own, if I'm being honest with you.
I actually hear you, but I think the only reason why now it's like, it's imperative that they win it, because like you said, I hear you, not from when they had the financial takeover in 2008.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they've now dominated the Prem since the takeover. Now it's, you've dominated here. You're the best team in this country here. Now go on to stake your claim in Europe. Now show you're the best in Europe. That's why, because big up Daps as well from Never a Foul. Make sure you're going over, like and subscribing to them. Daps always says, now it is. Past seasons, they always focus on the Prem first, but even he said, now we do. If any City fans say they don't want to win it, that they're lying to you. Now we actually want that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think a lot of it as well is like the history of clubs as well. Like you're talking about, these clubs are young. So like, imagine all the Liverpool players from academy days, they're imagining Champions League nights, and it's in the club's history.
Yeah.
You're growing with all that history and stuff. Same with Real Madrid. This is why they didn't lose last year. And I think with Man City and those clubs, when you join them, it's more the paycheck is the reason you're joining them, and the guaranteed domestic trophies. You're not thinking too much of Champions League glory. You're not that's not in the culture of it all yet. Jack
Grealish even said, Max, that when he first signed to City, the first thing he thinks about is the Premier League. So it just epitomizes what he said.
Look where he's coming from. He's coming from, obviously, he's never played European football anyway. So he ain't thinking Champions League. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that ain't his goal, like, in terms of his goal. He's thinking, yo, let me win the Premier League. Like, he looks at that as bigger. And then, now that he's won it, cool, let's move on to the Champions League now. Let's try and, you know what I mean, do something in that. So I think when it does come to this money thing, I think it is a case of you dominate domestically and then you'll move on to Europe at a later stage. Once you're certified as, all right, you are the guys, let's do our thing now in Europe. And then we can start showing people, because as Max said, bro, like, Real Madrid, how many times they won it? Like 13, 14 times now? Like, that's not no joke, you know. You can't just come in there and win it.
Just to add on to what Matt says, that's why even in the year we won it, Ajax were able to get to their latter stages because it's ingrained, it's in their culture. All their academy players are walking around their training ground facilities, probably see it. I think Ajax have won it 3-4 times. Seeing the European Cups, that's what we want. And the things, they can't compete financially with the other European giants. They have to sell their best players every summer, but they always have a conveyor belt. But because it's ingrained, pedigree is a big thing in the Champions League, massive. But that just goes back to our point. Financial takeovers, they'll guarantee domestic success, but not necessarily European success, man. Chelsea are the only club you can say it has, but it took them 8 years from their takeover, and the other two still haven't.
I big up Cassie inside. I mean, I hope that is Cassie in the photo. If it is, big up yourself. But as Cassie said here, look at Portsmouth Football Club with their multiple fake shakes. Won the FA Cup and then it crashed through it went very wrong quickly. And 100% Cassie, thank you for putting in. And it's true, like, it can go wrong, you know what I mean? It could be one of those things. So yes, take it with a pinch of salt. Obviously, we'd all want to be owned by these different kind of owners who can just plow as much money in as humanly possible, but that doesn't guarantee you nothing. At the end of the day, you need to have a good structure, which is why I like Manchester City in the way that they have done it now, is because I think that they've got the structure of everything correct. When they brought in Pep Guardiola, they were only bringing in Pep Guardiola after they had sorted out the back room, or the boardroom, should I say, sorry. So once they got all of that patterned up, they were good to go. But guys, please make sure you're smashing them likes. Please make sure, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you are subscribing as well. Just going to run through some comments. Big up KV. Big up yourself, bro. I think we'll dive into, obviously we're here for the game, so let's dive into the Liverpool West Ham game. There's a few stats from the game. Big up Jerry. Let us know from today's game. So Liverpool have lost just one of their last 49 home league games against West Ham. 36 wins, 12 draws, going down 3-0 in August 2015 under Brendan Rodgers. That was the last time I think that we had
Remember
lost
that.
at home. Brendan
And
Rodgers,
Lanzini did a madness. I remember that game.
That was the Payet season.
Yeah.
Listen, and that season was a good game still. West Ham have won one of their last 12 Premier League games against Liverpool, drawing 2, losing 9, winning 3-2 at home last season. Obviously, as we spoke about before, Liverpool have won 11 of their last 12 midweek games, including the last 7 in a row. Their only defeat in this run was, funnily enough, against Leicester City. Max, going into this game, how are you feeling, so to speak? Obviously, I know you said you was a little piece nervous, obviously, at the beginning, but how are you feeling in general in terms of looking at Liverpool as a whole from how we've been this season?
I think it could be like this could be a statement from Liverpool, depending how it goes, because obviously you lot have had a shaky start to the season, and West Ham will be hoping to, find that kind of Liverpool. It could happen. Obviously, there was still a lot of talk from the weekend. It might have carried on. So I'm hoping you lot are still, not set for the game. All this Klopp in the media, he might not be able to get his team ready. I'm hoping we can catch you on a bit of that, and we can be on a good day and ready for it. But I think both our teams are this season showing that you can have a good day and a bad day. Like, there's not been a strong level of consistency from both teams. So we need to get a bit lucky. I'm banking on the fact that, like I said, that first game with Moyes where we lost to you guys, but we just showed like a fight and we almost won it, or I think you lot, and we came back twice or something like that, and you lot won it late on. I think, I think we can bring a spirit to you lot, and I'm quietly confident, but maybe a draw. Like, I'll take a point, but I feel like it could very easily go Liverpool 3-0. Strong statement. Like,
quick question, because my starting 11, my right back, should I say, is dependent whether this player starts, but I think he's injured, but you'll be able to confirm. Is Maxwell Cornet injured?
He's back in training. Yeah, he's back in training. I was reading the thing from Moyes earlier. He's back in training. He's is undecided, because we need to get this guy going in with this Paqueta Scamacca, this new West Ham build, because this guy's a baller. Like,
you're unbeaten in your last 3 league games, aren't you?
We are. We had won like the last 4 or 5 on a trot until we drew to Southampton.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you've come into form. And remember I said a month ago, when I was predicting loads of losses, I was being a very impulsive. I was down in the dumps. Remember I said, I bet West Ham come into form by the time they play us. I said it a month ago. I said it ages ago. I just knew they were the minute, because I knew sooner rather than later, the fans they'll pressure Moyes into starting Scamacca, and the minute that guy starts, he'll hit the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But, one player I want to big up, Max, which I've been watching mainly in Conference League. Not full 90, but little cameos. Flynn Downs looks a player, and a lot of your fan base have been calling for him to start.
Yeah, I think he's like a very needed signing. Obviously, we lost Noble. Noble wasn't too much a starter, but he was needed for depth in the Europe games and stuff like that.
Your Nobles are Milner, basically.
Yeah, literally. To replace him with someone that's promising and young, but also we're aware Rice might go in the next year or two. Souček's been playing bad, so to have someone solid on the bench like Flynn Downs, who's obviously only shown promise when he's played, that's a nice little bit of confidence for us, and in terms of our depth as well, because that's where we struggled last year. Like, we should have made Europa League with the league position last year, but we had no signings in January, and then obviously we had the same starting 11 pretty much all season, so they burnt out before the end of the season. But it's a sign of promise and proper squad development, a proper build of a team, and not just a good season and a good starting 11.
No, I agree with you, man. I think with West Ham, you could see it. Like, it was just burnout. You're playing the same team all the time. Like, it's gonna burn out. I don't care who you are. If you play the same team every single week on top of trying to then fight in Europe, bro, it's not gonna happen, man. Like, you're not gonna be able to sustain that kind of level of performances, throughout.
Quickly, because I know Max has to leave in 10 minutes, and the lineups will be out in 10 minutes. So I kind of want to get ours in before the official one.
Yeah. No, that's calm.
Who starts for you, Max? Then me and G will go with ours.
For West Ham, right?
For West Ham.
See, West Ham, I see the question about a defense as well. Like, I'm unsure who's fit. It's very frustrating. We've signed some good players, and then there's been a lot of injuries. So I'm saying Fabianski in goal. I think this guy's just solid. Like, I love Areola, but I think Fabianski still, like, at least for this season, should be our starting keeper. I would want Zuma and Kera centre backs, but I'm unsure if Zuma's like fully fit at the moment. He had a little knock the other week. Otherwise, Dawson, I think Dawson does a job. This guy's just solid in the Prem. I would start Emerson left back because this guy's been good when he's played, and Cresswell's just been shaky lately. And I'd start Ben Johnson right back as well. I'm loving this guy. Like he's like,
I like Ben Johnson as well. I like
talent. And then centre mid, you got to go Rice and Souček for me. And then I would say Paqueta in the cam. But I just seen the comment about Zuma. That's never gonna leave, is it? Bowen on the right wing. I would go Fornals on the left wing, just because he's gonna work hard. And then you got Ben Rama on the bench, you got Lanzini on the bench. Hopefully, if Cornet's fit, I'd start him, but I don't think he's fit. And then Scamacca up top with Antonio, obviously the backup option. This guy, say if we're winning, I feel like Antonio is the guy to hold out a lead for us. He'll fight wherever he is on the pitch.
Because that's what I was gonna say. You've got about a squad of 15 that are very good, and I think once you go out of that, the golfing class kind of about to start. Because normally we don't rush starting levels, but I want this to come out, me and G to predict us and yourself before they officially come out. Because I'm quickly gonna blitz through mine, G. I think Alisson goes without saying. But let's kind of combine ours, G, because we normally sing off the same hymn sheet anyway. You agree? Robbo, Gomez, and Dak, or would you have any changes in them three?
Robbo, Gomez. Yeah. No, those three.
Cool. Right back.
I saw you right back. That's why I was looking at you a bit funny. Like I saw you right back.
I'm sticking by it. You know why? Because I think Fornals or Ben Rama, like Max said, starts on that left.
Mm-hmm.
I love the precedent we set against City. Although we're not going to play the same way, I actually feel we should. I know it's pragmatic and we're at home again, but I start Milner because as good as Fornals and Ben Rama can be, they don't have lightning pace. We know Milner is troubled with pace. If Cornet starts, I put Trent back in, but I want Trent to start against Forest on Saturday. And the reason why I start Milner as well, if he is getting skinned or gets tired, then we have that like for like change in Trent. Do you know what I mean? But I want to start Milner for stability because I'm not saying the reason why we got results because Trent didn't start. I'm saying that, but I was about to say, if we introduce him into the fold again, do you know what I mean? But my midfield two are Fabinho and Thiago, and I play Elliott on the right, Carvalho on the left, Bobby in the 10th, and I want to keep Salah up top. I don't want him to choke on his boots because you've seen in the last 2 games, 4 in his last 2, you play him centrally, he'll bag. But do you have any changes to that? Do you agree with the formation? Do you have any personnel changes or?
Nah, I feel like other than really it was just the James Milner one. I saw your team because it was basically the same as mine. It was just Trent and James Milner.
So you have no Hendo, no Nunez as well.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
those two can hold the bench for all I care. To be fair, you already know my thoughts on Nunez as it is, man. I think when it comes to a team, like I said, a team like West Ham, and because of the way that we've been playing now, I just don't want Salah out wide because I just think West Ham are going to work like a unit. I feel like people are not really deep in this. Like they're going to work like a unit. And Max just pointed something there. If they do start Scamacca up top, that's someone who is like we know when Antonio's up top, it's a bit of a different game. They know they're going to try and get the ball up to him, let him hold up so that he can bring everybody else into play, kind of thing. Whereas Scamacca, that's someone you need to keep your eye on at all times because the guy can finish, the guy can run in behind. He can also hold the ball up if you need him to. So that's too mobile for Liverpool's like centre backs. I feel he does too much for Liverpool centre backs, and because of his stature as it is, that's someone who you just want to be a little bit careful. And then you got to worry about their wingers and also the midfield. I think that's going to be an interesting battle because if we're going to have the 2 in there, if they've got they'll have the 2 / obviously Max is saying put Paqueta in the 10. If they're going to have it like that, I just think we just need to make sure that we overwork them because Rice is a good ball player. He can get out of situations very easily. So if he beats the press, I feel like we'd be in problems. I genuinely feel like we'd start being in problems and then they can start releasing their front players. So I think I
Also,
would.
won't be surprised if we do 5 at the back, because that's something about Moyes, is he caters to whoever the opposition is. His game plan is always how we beat them and not our game plan. So I won't be surprised if we do 3 at the
Do
back.
you know how I don't talk? You just said, Matt. So I think you're so true. I looked at Moyes' record. He's never won at Anfield. I think he's actually desperate for a win. I know you're saying he looks at what the opposition does and not really your squad, but I think he will try and go for the win today. I think he will try and go for
Big
the
up,
win.
Jamie Jamie Phillips. He's saying this is the
Is this
starting.
official? Because normally it's an hour before kickoff, but you know what? It probably is official. Big up Jamie, because they get leaked at 10 minutes before the official time anyway.
So what I will say is, it's not. I guess I haven't seen it on Liverpool's page or anything.
When it hits 6:30, we'll bring it up again. But it probably Jamie's reliable all the time, so it probably is.
But even still, if we're looking at this lineup here, then Romz, chat to me. Then is this lineup? Are you happy with this then? If this was the lineup, for example.
Thing is, if you bring Trent in, Hendo has to start. But this is why I had Milner. That is good enough to win the game, and I do think we'll win the game. But I would have had. Basically, my team was 2 changes to that. Elliot comes in for Henderson and. No, sorry.
You had Milner for Arnold, didn't you?
I had Milner for Arnold.
Yeah,
Elliot for Henderson as well. And Nunes wasn't in my team.
Nah, you'd be basically out of this team. You had no Nunes, no
Nunes, Henderson, and Arnold, and I had Milner, Elliot, and Carvalho in.
Yeah,
for this game.
As you said, Romz, it is one of them ones where it is gonna be that team in itself, but then there's so many different types of lineups I feel that could potentially kind of come in.
Sorry to cut you, G. At 6:30, I'll get the official one, because big up Phil Bander. He's saying Simi starts ahead of Robbo, but I'm seeing in the chat there's a lot of lines. This is what I mean. At 6:30, we'll get the official one. Even the West Ham one, we'll get the official West Ham one.
Yeah, we'll get the official one. But even still, I just think that either regardless of who we play, I do think it is that midfield battle. It is that, for me, is where the game is going to be won and lost. If we win that battle, I think we'll be all right onto victory. If West Ham win that battle, I think they'll be all right and onto victory. Max is saying that they could potentially play 5 at the back as well. That could work against us. It could work for us. We saw, obviously they're not on the same level, but we saw when we played against Rangers, they tried to play 5 at the back to just kind of pack the back so that we can't really get too much space in attack. But it didn't really work out for them. Even though I know we only scored by set pieces, fair enough, but it didn't really work out in terms of they weren't really an attacking threat going forward. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So then maybe then Antonio then comes in, if you're going to play that way, potentially, because then he can trouble, and he's someone that, hit it long. Antonio's running all day long. Like, he can play for 90 minutes probably just doing that. So
I was going to say to you, Matt has to leave now, but what's your score prediction and scorers? Because, and by the way, everyone's saying, Jamie said he made a mistake. Big up Phil Bander. It is Tsimikas over. I feel like Robbo should have started this, because Robbo will deal with Bowen's pace better on. Tsimikas, even Fashion Sakala in Rangers game, he was beating Simi too. And Robbo played so well against City, and he's had his red. Oh, that's kind of annoyed me. But sorry, Max, I know you have to go now. But what's your prediction?
I'm saying it's 2-2. I reckon Salah's definitely bagging for you. I don't know who's bagging the other one. I'm saying Scamacca scores again, and I'm gonna go Souček with probably a header from a corner, because that's our bag.
100%.
Big up, Max. Big up yourself. Let them know where they can find you.
Get at me at BTB_Max on Instagram. Search BTB Max on TikTok or BTB Media. I'm there. Big love for having me on, guys. And good luck to the game.
Thank you for coming on, bro. We got to have you again next time we play you guys again. Need to have you guys on, man.
Big love to you, man. And make sure you like, subscribe, all them things in the comments, people. Love.
Big up, Max.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate.
Gee, man, it's kind of worried me. Because obviously, that is one area of our team where the drop-off ain't mad. I rate Tsimikas, but the stellar performance Robbo was one of our better players. And I always said Robbo was spent. Like, even people forgetting, after our title run in Champions League final, he then had to play a qualifier against Ukraine. Yeah, he had to play a qualifier, so he hasn't had that much rest. Then he got injured. Then he's come in the team, got injured again. I said the injury was a blessing in disguise. I don't wish injury on anyone, but I just think Robbo's playing so well. Play him, man. And he deals with Bowen will be trying to run him behind. Bowen will be trying to run him behind. And big up Marquet. You're saying Robbo's minutes have to be managed, but he's not going to the World Cup. Wait, did Greece qualify? I don't think Greece did qualify, didn't they?
Did Greece
Help
qualify?
us out. But
Yeah, guys, let me know that. I didn't know if Greece qualified.
then-
I feel like no, but if they did, then fair enough, right?
big up Crypto Nation saying Robbo just came back, so we can't rush him back, bro. I hear you, bro. I do hear you. Big up yourself, Crypto Nation, as well. But we threw Robbo in the most high octane game of our season. And this will be less high octane. We'll have more of the ball, we'll dominate the ball. So I just think Robbo now starts. He's now start because I don't know if Assad's still in here. Big up Assad. I rate Tsimikas, but do we rate him higher just because he was bit part and whenever he came into the team, he was playing very well? Or now we've seen him consistently. He's been good, but he hasn't been great. When Assad said that, I think he said it. Big up Big Six Span as well. He said it when I was on Monchi's show. And when Assad said that, me and Monch said to each other that is a great comment. I'm not saying Simi's bad, by the way. I'm not saying Simi's bad.
Big up Crypto Nation. I think, and guys, please make sure you're smashing those likes. Please.
Yeah, smash those likes.
I'm gonna do some housekeeping in a minute, but he said it here. It will be a game 3 days after, and I think that is actually quite important to know as well. Remember, we got Forest at the weekend, I believe, and then obviously after that, I think we got Ajax and then Leeds. So we've got games kind of coming up in not quick succession, but we've got games coming up, kind of close to each other. Do you get what I mean? So even if, for example, Tsimikas does start today, Robbo can start on the weekend. That might be a fixture because we're playing away to Forest. Remember, that's a ground where, it could be fiery. It's going to be very, very
early morning. We ain't really fared well.
No, I did not know that.
Past 12, bro. Because if you go to Iran, if you go to Iran Telvari's comments, he agrees with me. This is what I'm saying. I just think Costa should be introducing. By all means, I'm not saying Robbo plays this full 90, by the way. I just feel Simi can be introduced. But Marquet makes a very good point as well, where he says adrenaline got Robbo over the line. That is a big point. Big up Marquet. You're always coming with the knowledge. I hear that because he knew it's a big occasion. He just rose to it, and it naturally got him over the line. But
and Crypto Nation again, you're making some good points. It's the recovery, the rest. We got to remember he just come back from injury, and he's just come back from quite a hefty layoff as well. So if he's just coming back from a layoff, we do need to be a little bit easy in regards to how we use Robbo, because we don't want him to just come back in, then he breaks up again. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it is.
Sorry to cut you. This is the official team. Big up Jamie and Phil Banner because it was right. It is Alisson in goal, Trent right back, Gomez and Dijk centre back, Simi left back. This to me is looking like a 4-2-3-1. It's looking like Hendo and Thiago is the double pivot. I'd say Bobby in the 10, Cavallo on the left, Salah on the right, Nunes up top. But I do believe.
Hold on. Say that front four again. I didn't quite.
So I believe this is. I'm just going off top of my head. Help me out in the comments. I think it's a double pivot of Hendo and Thiago.
Yeah.
Bobby in the 10, Cavallo on the left, Salah on the right. I feel like Nunes is up top, but don't fix we're not broken. Salah has got 4 in his last 2, playing the central role, bro.
I think it's
But you have to play. I get it. You have to play Nunes. You have to.
Why? Okay.
Ox is back on the bench.
Who? I'm not even trying to talk about that guy. I'll ask you this, bro. Because you just said it there. Why do we have to play Nunes? Why do we have to? What is the force to play?
Me and you would. I know you didn't have him starting. I didn't as well.
I don't know.
Because of the tag, we have to. Because for me, cool. I know a lot of fans won't agree with this. It's fine, but I want results. And
of course,
sometimes you have to go against the grain. Yes, we paid 64 million for him. Yes, he needs momentum, but Salah just got 4 goals in his last 2. For me, Nunes has looked more dangerous personally coming off the bench for us. The Fulham game, the City game. When he started the Everton game, he had that shot that was reminiscent of Torres' goal against Blackburn. That was good. And I think he hit the bar in one of our recent games. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Mm.
I do hear this. I do hear this. But does that mean you're making Salah have chalk on his boots again, playing from wide where he's been less effective? It's... Wait, Jamie said Nunes has no hair now. Wait, did he cut off his hair? Don't kill me.
Run it. I need to see this. If we said Nunes is trying to come with a whole...
Because you remember when Thiago cut off his head in our run up 2021 to get that third spot? Did Darwin literally shave his head? I thought that was... He met... You know what? Big up Monts, because when you shave your hair, it does... We saw it a bit with United. We're seeing it with Thiago. I feel like I'm forgetting people, but it does unlock that, I don't know, that Super Saiyan trend. But I don't start Nunes, man. I don't start Nunes. Honestly, I introduce him because I think he'll be a nuisance coming off the bench. And
this is my point. I think, look, today there was a big... Go on.
I've just seen the West Ham. 1 minute, let me pause this.
Is this the West Ham lineup?
Paqueta's out for them. It's Fabianski in goal.
Yeah.
I believe they're playing 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
Fabianski in goal, Ben Johnson and Cresswell as the fullbacks, Zuma and Kera as the centre-backs, Rice and Souček as the double pivot, Flynn down. I jinxed it. I said he's a bad boy signing. Now he's starting for them. It would have been Paqueta. We know that. But Flynn Downs, I believe, is the 10. Bowen will be on the right. Fornals will be on the left. And Gmwk. And I know it's a quick turnover, but I do feel Milner can deal with... I would have had Milner and introduced Trent. Milner can deal with Fornals. He's not electric. He's not like he'll running behind. He likes ball to his feet and create something. But Paqueta looks injured because their bench is Areola, Randolph, Kufau, Emerson, Ogbonna, Coventry, Lanzini, Benrahma, and Antonius. See, they've got 3 men that can kind of change this game. I look at our bench. You know, I'm not Elliot's biggest fan. Like, I rate him, but I'm not his biggest fan. I look at our bench, and it's only really Elliot and maybe Ox.
And this is why I say you have Nunes on the bench to just change it up a little bit. What I think, look,
Nunes is on the left. I'm seeing a lot on the timeline and whatnot. And I know a few people in the comments have said it. I think Nunes is on the left.
Look, people.
Jamie, I'm gonna check it now, brother. I'm gonna check it now.
Yeah, send it through to me, and I'll post it up or just have a little look. But look, today there was and listen, for people who don't know, listen, with these kind of big channels and stuff like that, your Sky Sports, your BT Sports, all these big shows and that. Listen, don't act like don't think that they don't watch a lot of what goes on social media to 100%. Then kind of gauge what they should then talk about, because obviously they're such a big platform and they also need to crowd kind of source what's going on out there. So today they obviously put up the graphic of Darwin Nunes, in terms of his shots on goal, touches an opponent's box, per 90 minutes, I think goals and stuff like that. And I think he was first in basically everything bar one thing, which he was second in. Now, obviously, they've done that because they know that there's been a lot of talk about Darwin Nunes and his actual impact. So they're looking at it from a statistical point of view. Fair enough, no problem at all. I think this kind of, for me, when it comes to someone like a Darwin Nunes, you've just seen the bench. Now, Romz has just said it there. The only player that he said he could really see coming off our bench was who? Elliot and who else?
Possibly Ox, and he's just come back from injury, so you're not gonna really put your whole faith in. If I looked at our bench in the chat, you can disagree or agree. It's only Elliot that comes off our bench that can change again. I know I think Clark's on the bench as well.
Okay, but
yeah, that's why I also would have had Nunes not starting, because he could be that game changer for us. I don't think he needed to start this game, but the thing is, this is going to be the narrative of Nunes every game. He's maybe not done as much starting, but we have to start him because of the price tag. But sometimes if you want a result, you have to go against what you believe in, man. You have to.
And this is it. This is where the catch-22s, it's like, I'm looking at it from a point of, all right, so if we need to change the game, or we're losing, or, we need something different, there's no one really to come on who changes that. It's going to kind of be the same players like for like. So I don't really feel that we need to always start Nunes. There's going to be games that Nunes needs to start. And then that's where you drop a Bobby. Maybe, obviously, then when we have Luis Diaz, when we have Diogo Jota back, then we'll start having a lot more reinforcements. But when we're trying to almost, I just feel we're shoehorning him in to a team that is quite rigid and quite, set in their own ways. Trying to then fit someone who's very unorthodox is a bit like, But at the same time, it's not to say that he doesn't come in tonight, bag 3 goals, has a blinder of a game. These are all the things that could potentially happen. So again, we'll wait and see. Obviously tonight, the game kicks off at 8 o'clock, I believe. So guys, kicks off 7:30.
Yeah, their scheduling is weird.
I thought it was 8 o'clock.
Everyone's 7:30, I believe, and United and Spurs are 8:15. So basically, when Liverpool game ends, we'll have a whole half of United Spurs.
When the Liverpool game ends, we'll have a whole half of United. Okay, cool. Fair enough then. Guys, look, we might be back after the game. I don't know. Obviously, Jerry will let you guys know. So make sure you guys slap your notifications on just before we head out. I'm going to run through the comments and then I'm going to go through score predictions with me and Romz, and then we will be outie. Crypto Nation. Yeah, we do need to wrap up players like Robbo and Trent as well. He's another one.
I hear it. I do hear it. That's why when Crypto Nation said we can't chuck him in 3 days after, I do hear it. Me personally, I still would have started Robbo, but I hear why we haven't, man.
No, it's true. SA Nunes starting is like walking into a party blacked out. I can start off at 100. Oh my god, Jamie Phillips, make sure you guys head over to his channel and make sure you are subscribing to his channel. Great content on there. Do you think Klopp's like, F it, we have 6 games left until the World Cup, let's just play everyone and go for it? Potentially. I mean, if we win tonight, I believe we go 5th. I'm sure we go 5th tonight if we win.
You see how the complexion's changed, D? Before the City game, and this again, I'm apologizing to all the optimistic fans. I can't remember all of you top of my head, but Pan of Scouts, big up yourself. I remember Pan of Scouts predicted a Liverpool win against City. Forgive me if I don't remember the rest of you, but I know him off the top of my head. But we were 2 points above the relegation zone. Now we're 4 points up, 4 or 5 points off top 4. But just to confirm what you said, G, because Brighton drew yesterday.
Yeah, and I think but I don't know if that then means we would go.
Oh, we won't. It depends on the United and Newcastle. We basically need a United loss.
Yeah.
Because our goal difference is better. A United loss and a Newcastle. If Newcastle draw or lose and United lose, we'll go 5th with a win. It depends on other results, but it looks better. We just need to win. It looks better.
We just need to make sure.
We're guaranteed to move up if we win because Brighton drew.
No, it's true. Cool. Chat to me then, Romz. Your score prediction for this evening?
2-0. I'm confident, man. 2-0. I think we keep a clean sheet. I think Salah gets a brace. He's just in red hot form. I hope Nunes is on the left. And regardless of what you say, I know his IQ is not the greatest, whatnot, but we saw him skinning Akanji. He was giving them problems. We know, G, though, when he has to make decisions, it will be poor. But I want Salah centrally, bro. I've seen enough the last 2 games. You get that guy. I think we can all agree. Salah getting chalk on his boots and being that modern, that old-fashioned winner like your Iron Robin, Damien Duff type. He was more being asked to be more of a creator, but we know Salah is a killer. He's lethal. Get him centrally. Jerry, what time do you call this, mate?
What time do you call this, Sunshine?
Yeah, this is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. I'm still not even at home. Like the trains have been cancelled. Yeah, so obviously big up everyone tuning in and that. Obviously, I've just clocked you guys are doing score predictions, innit? So I said, why not jump in for the
time?
Exactly. I listened, first of all, guys. Massive thanks to obviously G, Romz, and Max. Obviously, big up to Max for coming on. Listen, incredible person to have on, man. So, yeah, like we're proper lucky, like us in the comments. I mean, I'm part of the comment man today. So big up. Yeah, man. Run your things.
What's your score prediction? Have you heard the lineup for tonight?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What's the lineup?
Let me. I don't know if Romz has got it there.
Can you guys hear me properly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's Alisson in goal. I'm not sure if it's a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, Jerry, but the personnel is Alisson, Trent at right back, Gomez and Van Dijk centre backs, Simi left back, Hendo and Thiago. I believe it is 4-2-3-1. Hendo and Thiago in the double pivot. I believe it's Bobby in the 10, Salah on the right, Carvalho on the left, Nunes up top. However, a lot of the chat and the general consensus on the timeline is Nunes maybe on the left, so I'm not 100% sure.
What I don't get though is people are obviously, why is Elliot not playing?
Exactly.
Bro, thank you.
Exactly. The one time I'm trying to get him to play, he ain't playing.
Jerry, exactly. And you know, I'll say our three aren't really Elliot's biggest fan.
Nah.
Who was your starting 11? Forget what we just said.
Who was your starting 11?
I would have went Alisson in goal. Konate's still injured, isn't it? So I would have probably went Trent. Trent's got to play at right back because he made an appearance. He's fit. So Trent, even though I want. Nah, man. Like, you know what it is. You can't test your luck twice, innit? Now you know you don't get burnt. Well, I'm not gonna try run it again and then get burnt. So Trent plays, but if Konate was fit, I'd play Gomez at right back. But but Gomez centre back with Verge. Probably one of the man of the matches last game, so he keeps his place. I'd have gone Robertson at left back.
So Jerry, this is how we all just sing off the same.
I'd went Robertson at left back. I mean, considering his performance,
thank you.
And how can you drop him? Doesn't make sense. So Simicast there is a bit crazy.
But JJ, people in the comments, big up. I think it was Crypto. What's the name again? Big up Crypto Nation, and someone else said it. Forgive me, but they did make a good point. They were like, you have to feed Robson back in. Maybe adrenaline took him over the line. But I agree with you. I still think Robert should have started, but they feed him in. He's just come back off an injury, and they would start him. Forest, they would start.
No, but this game is equally as important. It's a City game because we haven't had a run of like 5, 10, 20 games on the spin where we've like drawn 5 but won the others. Do you know what I mean? Like and Jerry, this is a game where you've got to keep the same team. I don't get you need some consistency in the back. All this chopping and changing don't help the team.
Jerry, and this is what I was saying as well, right? Robbo is more accustomed to Bowen than Simi. We saw against Rangers, Sakala kept Simi's not the greatest with pace, where Robbo deals with it, cleans up, he eats up, and Bowen's going to try and run in behind on the counter. I feel like Robbo's more accustomed to it because I do feel Simi will get beaten a few one-on-ones tonight. Not hopefully, God forbid, it ends up resulting in any sort of goal, but I agree with you, Jared. I feel like Robbo was just more accustomed to this game, and he's not going to the World Cup, so just play him every game up until the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Big up Fritz as well. Man. It's one of those ones for me where, obviously he's playing, I guess. So I would have went with that, and then in the middle, I would have went with Fabinho and Thiago, considering they played against City. But Hendo's playing now, so I don't get the reasoning behind that. And then I would have went with. You know what? I don't know if I would have wanted to start Carvalho, you know. I know he's the only option. No, the reason being is that he hasn't, and I spoke to it with G, and he hasn't got that pace. He hasn't got that explosive pace. So now you've got 2 people out wide. Obviously, we've got Salah playing out wide. But basically, I wanted to play Salah up top, innit? I wanted to play Salah up top. So if Salah's playing up top, like he did, then we've got to have Elliot on the right, and if Elliot's on the right, then I can't have Carvalho on there as well because then you've got no pace from out wide, no pace. The only pace you've got is Robbo if he plays, but Robbo's not playing, so it's just Simicast. There's no real explosive pace. So if you're relying on Salah, so it's a tricky one. But
bear with me, Jerry. Go to Jamrock's comment. Big up Jamrock. Go to Jamrock's comment quickly. I'll address this. The reason why I'm saying this, Jamrock, is because I know. Wait, Jay, did Greece qualify for the World Cup?
God knows. Probably not. Nah. I don't think so. I don't think they did.
But regardless whether they did or not, Simi is number 2 and Scotland didn't. So for me, bar the Derby game, Jamrock, in the League Cup and possibly one of the Champions League games, because we only need a point from our last 2. Why not play Robbo every... And I know people are saying, oh, you have to manage his injury, whatnot, but he is our best left back. And before the World Cup, we need to be in the top 4, in around top 4. So I don't see why there's a problem not playing him, honestly. And we introduced him in a high-octane game. Yes, some will argue adrenaline got him over the line, and that is a great point. But you play Robbo.
I'm going to just positive tonight. I'm going to keep quiet throughout the whole game. I'm just going to let this team just play itself out and see how that kind of works out in terms of the performance. Because what Jerry just said there is exactly the problem that we're going to keep having. You keep chopping and changing the team. How the hell do you expect anyone to get into any type of rhythm if you just keep chopping and changing every single week? Yeah, I mean, there has to be some level of consistency within the team. You got to just trust the team putting out. You know, if you trust them against Man City, you got to probably trust them then against a West Ham. Do you get what I'm saying? Not, and maybe not everybody, but you got to trust at least most of them. But you're taking Elliott out. You're taking, I'm not saying playing James Milner, but you're taking James Milner out. You're putting Tsimikas back in. You know, it's a little bit.
The way I see it, bro, is for me, Simi starts 3 games up until the World Cup for me. The 2 Champions League games and the Derby game, potentially. Yeah, the Derby game. The next 5 Premier League games, I believe, is West Ham, Forest. This is in order, by the way. Leeds, Tottenham, then Southampton, Anfield, or away. I can't remember. There are next 5 Premier League games. For me, Robbo starts all of the league games. Tsimikas can start all of the cup games. I think that's fair because he'll still get his rest then.
Very true. He will get his rest.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. To be fair, people talking about obviously we need to rotate because we've got 3 games in a row. Like Robbo's been out for 5 weeks, bro. He's been out for 5 weeks, and I understand he was injured, but in terms of football, he had a rest, didn't it? He had a rest, hence why he was fresh against City. Exactly. He could play this game midweek and not play against Forest. Like this game is more like it's a trickier game than Forest, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Playing Tsimikas.
You think so? You think so?
What you think Forest is trickier?
No, this is harder. I know what you're saying. The context, G, away, the early kickoff, I hear it. But in terms of I know what Jerry's alluding to. In terms of the quality of the team and who can pose more of a threat, it's West Ham. You know what? Jerry's made a good point. I could hear Simi starting on Saturday, but I would have liked Robbo starting. But you know what? It is what it is, and I do still think this team is.
It's good enough, yeah. It's still win, man. Still, Jerry, what was your score predictions for tonight as we head out, man?
Yeah, my score predictions. I need to head out because I'm going to go through a tunnel in a minute. But mine. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I think we win. But I don't think it's as well. I hope it's cut and dry like against City. I hope you have the same performance and you batter them. But to show some level of like consistency, I think we get the result. I think it's a good performance. I don't think it's up to the scratch of City, and I think that West Ham do nick something. But I think generally we'll be satisfied with how Liverpool played, in my opinion.
Okay, you guys heard it here first. This is, again, so just let you guys know, this is the second time this season that all 3 of us have predicted a win. The first time we drew 3-3 to 2-2 or 3-3 to Brighton, or 2-2, sorry, to Brighton. So I'm hoping this is not an omen that every time all 3 of us predict the same like kind of result, we end up messing up in some way, shape, or form.
You know, and there another time we messed up.
When did we mess up?
We all predicted a win for the Fulham.
Well, I'll give myself blind because that was the first game of the season. We didn't know what Liverpool were going to be on, like, you know, throughout the season. But this time we do know. So, guys, look, thank you guys for obviously tuning in. Romz, thank you for joining me. Jerry, thank you for coming in.
Big up.
You know you're busy. Also, thanks to Max as well. Absolutely great guest to have on. Hopefully, you guys will see more of this in the future. You heard it here first. We think it's going to be a Liverpool win for each and every single one of us. Jerry will let you guys know in regards to after the game. So just make sure you just stick your notifications on.
We have to run something. I mean, I can't be sticking around and not doing niche, innit? Not doing nothing. That can't be me. That can't be me, man.
Nah. All right, then. Say no more. You heard it here first. We're going to be doing something after the game. So stick your notifications on. I'm G, Romz, Jerry, and we are out.